Hi to all you survivors, it's me, Prepper Zan, back again today with content in regards to how you are literally on your own in a time of crisis. As I stated before in my previous videos, that I've been in so many natural disasters here in Houston, Texas. I've been in Hurricane Alicia, Hurricane Ike, Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Harvey. I was in a tornado in Unalaska, Texas. And now the latest is Texas winter storm. So a lot of us Texans, we have a first-hand look of what it's like to actually be on your own when you're going through a time of crisis. When you're in a SHTF situation, you are literally on your own. You cannot depend on anyone to come and get you, anyone to come and save you, not your landlord, not your utility company, your gas company, your water company, your light company, not the people that you rent your car from. Sometimes not even your family members. Sometimes not even your neighbors, unfortunately. You are on your own. So as preppers, we have to keep the mindset and knowing that we are on our own, and we have to have plans in place and preps in place to prepare for these types of events. You guys, like I said, I would have never imagined being alone with my daughter, two females, and everything is pitch black dark. You couldn't see anything, literally anything, not in your house, not when you open up your door and go outside your door at your house, when you get on the road, you literally couldn't see anything. As you guys saw in one of my videos, while we were out there on the road looking for an area that was lit up, it was the most scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life. Had it not been for those headlights and me just driving very, very slow, which we shouldn't have been on that road to begin with. I should have had all my preps in place. I don't know what we would have done. The roads were very icy, and if we would have slid on those roads and had a wreck, we would have been on our own. So this is why I come to you guys with experiences that I've had throughout all these storms here in Texas, so you guys can prepare and think outside the box. You have to expect the worst situations in regards to a crisis so you can properly plan and properly prepare. Don't wait for these things to happen to try to go out and get food, because you can see there was no food. There was no water, and places that did have a little food left, the lines were so long. And in a lot of those stores, the workers, the employees, they could not come to work. They couldn't get there because of the situation with the roads and how cold it was. And a lot of them had lost their homes due to pipes bursting in their homes. A lot of them lost their cars because the cars had froze and they were unable to start them. So I know a lot of times as preppers, we think about having ample amounts of food and water and maybe even some land. But what would you do? Ask yourself, if you were in Texas at the time of that winter storm, how would you have handled that situation if you didn't have everything that you need? And if you have land in other places like myself, and if you're not there, how could you get there? What do you do? So we have to think outside the box. And then so many Houstonians, so many Texans are still without water. This is 17 days, two and a half weeks later after the winter storm. And then in so many places, the water is still contaminated. So many places, some people are still having electric issues. I have gone throughout the city and I'm still seeing a lot of stop signs. A lot of the traffic lights that are still out. You guys, this is indeed a crisis. And you have to ask yourself, what's the plan that I take for me and my family if we go through this type of scenario? You have to try to write down all types of scenario. Listen to other people like myself experiences and see what it is that you can do, what you have, or what you need that you don't have that you might can start saving or start purchasing now to help yourselves in that type of situation. FEMA is not coming. And they're really not coming right away. And when they do come, they still may not be able to help you. Red Cross, they're not coming right away. And when they do come, they still may not be able to help you. I remember during the tornado in Alaska, we were out well, the city was without lights for, I think, a little bit over a week. So many people had died in Alaska. Everything around us was destroyed. We had generators. At the time, I had my mom in the house, and she's very sickly. So I was like, okay. So they had, Red Cross had where they were putting people up in hotels. So the thing about it, since it's COVID now. I mean, the virus is here now. I went to one of the hotels just to check out to see, what they was going to require. They want to give you a COVID test. They want you to sign all these documents and all these forms. And I was like, oh no, I'm not taking a COVID test because of the situation, how they stick that all the way down your nose. And I was hearing things that people who didn't have it at the time, and when they took that test, then they had it. So I was just really paranoid with that whole I call it a pandemic, and I didn't want to have any parts of it. And I'm not trying to discourage you from getting a COVID that test or anything. I'm just saying that wasn't good for me, and it wasn't good for my family. We were very uncomfortable with that. So they have when it comes to the FEMA and the Red Cross, they have all these different things that that you have to go through in order to get assistance. So make sure, if you can, to have everything that you possibly would need at your homestead, at your house, your land, or whatever it is, to prevent from having to go through all these different things and being inconvenienced and being uncomfortable. If you have sick loved ones, this is so important, because I know in the prepping community, we don't get to talk about all the time if you have a sick parent or a sick child or anything like that. Make sure you always have their medications in place. This is very important. Because like I said, it was so dark, you couldn't see anything. And I always have a prepping bag. Make sure you have a prepping bag that you have all types of things that you may need in a situation, especially water, food, some tools that you may need for your car. You may want to have that all already in your car. So you guys, I would just love for you guys to jot down some plans. Jot down some things that you may need or your sick loved one may need. Have another place that you might can be able to go, or just have your car prepared. And like I said, in this case, you really wasn't supposed to be out there driving in your vehicle, because it could have caused a problem. But a lot of us, we really didn't have a choice. There were so many people that were sleeping in their cars at gas stations. They were at gas stations. They were going to all types of businesses that had backup generators, that had illumination in the parking lot for them and their families to camp out at and to be able to go to sleep. We are living in treacherous days and times. And like I continue to remind you guys, it's going to be something else. And I'm not saying this because I'm hoping it, but this is the world that we're living in now. They're going to keep on just throwing all types of things at us. And with the weather is just, it will behoove you to try to have everything that you need. Because if you don't, and when these situations occur, and it's a bad weather situation, you can't get out there and go and get what you need. And even in New York, at the snowstorm, the bad snowstorm they had February the 1st when I was out there were lines long, like miles long, at the grocery store. People were trying to get groceries because New Yorkers, they don't really prep like that, because first of all, that culture is not set up for that, because in New York, a lot of people, they're walking or they're on bicycles to go to stores and they get what they need. They get their little push carts, but they don't fill it up, because a lot of those people, they don't have they don't live in elevator apartment buildings. They live in apartment buildings where they have to walk up all these stairs. So of course they're not going to get all these different things where they have to walk up and not have anybody to help and assist them. So they get a little bit at a time. And that storm caught so many New Yorkers off guard because they didn't have everything that they needed in their home, especially food. So don't wait for a crisis. Don't wait for a natural disaster to unfold and then be trying to figure it out. Figure it out now. But at the end of the day and at the start of your day, know that you are on your own. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. So when these types of things occur, you will be able to do what you have to do in order for you and your family to survive. I tell you in all of my videos, I have prepper needs at zanharrow.com. You don't ever have to get them from me, but just make sure that you get it. And most of all, keep surviving. Until next time, you take care.